Hi, good afternoon. I was actually heading out to the gym. I usually go every day except Sunday, but I just got a call because a repair person is supposed to come by to repair something, and he's been repairing it for quite a while. And so now he tells me he's gonna be showing up in less than an hour. So I'm gonna take this time while I wait to share some things that I actually did not mention prior about a simile. A simile is considered to, also be something called figurative language. There are actually five common figurative languages that most people have a tendency to use. And I'm going to look at my notes because if I don't, I'm going to forget because clearly I forgot to tell you that a simile is something that's called figurative language. So, figurative language is a type of communication that does not use a word's strict or realistic meaning. It is common in comparisons and exaggerations, and it's usually used to add, creativity and impact to the written, spoken words, and it helps you to understand some things that are sometimes difficult to understand. And it also is written for emotional impact. So usually you would find figurative language in, poetry, short stories, certain works of literature for impact. And it's not just all, it doesn't have to be strict to, short stories and stuff like that. If you're writing a regular story composition, you could also use, a lot of people have a tendency to use figurative language in there. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. I'll tell you the most common figurative language that people usually use, and it's the simile, which we started going over. It's a metaphor, which we're going to get more into. It's also hyperbole, personification, and illusion. Those are the five most typical figurative languages, literary devices that I use when people write. So a simile is more direct. It's a more direct comparison. A metaphor, the comparison is not quite as clear cut as a simile. So it takes a little bit more to recognize what it is. So let me just give you a brief definition of what a metaphor is. But you know what? Let me go back to the definition of a simile. A simile uses like or as to draw attention to what's being compared. Okay. And a metaphor is a comparison that does not use like or as. A metaphor is a direct comparison, so it can be confused as being very literal because a metaphor is a direct comparison. For instance, if I were to say, he, let me look at my notes because I'm going to go off on a tangent here. If I were to say life is like a speeding car, that's a simile. And then if I were to say life is a speeding car, that's a metaphor. Because life in the metaphor sense, in both senses, being compared to a speeding car. But we're saying life is a speeding car. That's very directed to it. But whereas a simile is life is like a speeding car. So that's the difference. And here's another simile I wrote. His feet is like cotton. If I were to say his feet is like cotton, that would be a simile. But his feet is cotton. That is a metaphor. That's very direct. If I were to say she is like a ripe apple, simile, she is a ripe apple, metaphor. He is a snail. Let me see if you could tell me what that is. Well, if you say metaphor, you're correct. He is like a snail. If you say simile for that, You would be correct. Anyway, okay, I guess I'm supposed to look and see. Well, excuse me, guys. I have this ridiculous cough since 2001, and it's when people hear me coughing and I'm on the streets, they run. They think I have COVID. No, it's not COVID. It's a cough I've had since 2001, guys. But I'm trying not to take it personal because I understand some people are just very concerned nowadays, especially with what happened, with the COVID situation. So I get it. I do get it. But anyway, I just hopped on here for a few minutes because I wanted to mention uh, figurative language and what it's about. And hopefully, I brought clarity to you. I am going to now check to see what's happening with the appliance guy. And he actually had the nerve to get testy with me because I didn't understand what he was saying. It's unfortunate. Like some of us have accents, some of us are from different cultures. So sometimes it's kind of hard for us to understand what someone else is saying when their accent is so thick. Um, I've been actually waiting for this appliance guy to repair my appliance for like, I don't know, like over a month now. And it's a dryer, guys. I want to dry clothes, right? When you want to dry your clothes and you're waiting around for your dryer. Well, some of you may not actually have a dryer. Some of you may actually go to the place where the laundromat. Well, let me tell you what happened to me years ago. I used to live somewhere in Brooklyn because I still live in Brooklyn, but where I used to live, it was like a project, and I went to the laundry section of this building, right? And when I went to put clothes in the dryer, there was a huge rat in the dryer. True story. My son wasn't even born yet. That was quite a few years ago. My son wasn't even born yet. When I saw that rat, I told my husband, we got to get out of here. Imagine, it was a huge rat. I was like, whoa, we got to get out of here. And lickety split, we ended up moving because I'm like, I don't ever want to be in a laundromat ever again because that experience freaked me out. It was a huge rat. It was a rat like a cat. It was big like a cat, okay? And since then, I would move into other places and put in like washer and dryers on the low, guys. Because some places the super doesn't want you to have a washer dryer, right? But I put one in the apartment. I had somebody I know hook it up so that the washing machine wouldn't go flooding on the people underneath me. Because that's the main reason I think that they don't want people to have wash and dryers in these apartment buildings, because they're concerned with water, flowing down if they, leak flowing down onto the people underneath them. So I got a friend of mine to hook up the washer to the sink system. That way, I wouldn't have that situation happening, because I refuse to be going to some sort of laundromat because that big rat scared the bejesus out of me, okay? Really scared the bejesus out of me. That was like a crazy experience. That rat was big like a cat. And I started putting my clothes in there. I said, I'm not doing this again. I know that doesn't mean that somewhere else that I would have gone, I would have seen a rat there, but I mean, I went to the extreme. I refuse to go through that again. But I'm saying all that to say, now I'm waiting for my dryer to be working for over a month. That is frustrating. Anyone would be frustrated with that. I reached the point where I was like, you know what? I'm waiting too long for this. Today, I made up my mind that I was going to buy a new dryer. But it turned out today's the day when he says whatever the part arrived and he's gonna install it. So, but I don't understand how come it took over a month to get a part for a dryer. I don't understand that. I find that very hard to understand. And this is cutting into my workout time because I got stuff to do. And, I have a friend coming by to look at some of my, well, I also paint. Besides writing, I also paint. Matter of fact, this is one of my paintings on the wall here. Let me see. Let me show it to you. I don't know how to do this, guys. How can I make you see it? Anyway, this is one of my paintings, if you could see it. So I want one of my friends to look at my paintings and give me a clue, like, which one he thinks that I should sell. And he works in the school system. I left the school system, but this friend of mine, he works in the school system, and I value his opinion. So now I don't know what to do because I wanted to get my workout done before he came by. But now I'm waiting for this guy to show up for the appliance thing. So I'm like, what? I don't know how to do this because let me tell you the truth. If I don't go to the gym, I'm gonna be very irritated and irritable. I'm not gonna be pleasant to be around because I gotta work out. So I don't know how to work this thing out. But anyway, I'll figure it out. And anyway, I just hopped on to share um, the definition of figurative language and to mention the five main type of figurative language that's commonly used, by people in general, even you yourself when you write and you don't realize it. Those are the more common figurative languages that are used. Similes, metaphors, allusions, personification, and hyperboles. All right, so I might hop back on later today because this was like, on the fly, me hopping on here because I'm just trying to burn time while I wait for this person to show up. Anyway, I'm going to end right now and like and subscribe because we're going to go places together. Be blessed because God loves you. God, the creator of this whole universe and everything in it, He loves you. And I'll talk to you soon. Like and subscribe. See ya.